Hello and welcome to a brand new episode in Unreal Engine 4 tutorials, and this episode was voted for by my Patreon and YouTube members, so thank you to everyone who's been supporting me and voted for this episode. In this episode we're going to go through and showcase how to create a system to allow you to switch between multiple weapons, not just switching between two weapons off and on, but switching between multiple. Now there are many ways to accomplish this task, and you'll see it accomplished in different ways depending on the game. So what we're going to go through today is just one solution. Obviously there are more, and if you have anything specific that doesn't work with this particular setup, by all means let me know in the comments and we'll see what we can do in future videos. So for this I'm using a first person template, and we're going to have this character switch between different guns. Now if you've used or seen any of my Unreal Engine 4 FPS template tutorial, before now, you'll know that I like to have my guns as separate actors, and that's quite a good way to do it. That way you can get different behaviors from your guns based on what guns you have equipped. So we've got our first person here. We're going to switch them out so they use guns that are separate actors entirely. So I'm going to create a new blueprint class and choose actor, and this would be a gun base class, and we're going to set up the basic functionality of the gun in here. So let's sort that out, and let's open this up. And in here, we're going to add our skeletal mesh, which will be for our gun. And I'll change that to our FP gun. And I'm just going to rotate that so it's facing the X. Like so. Now, part of the gun here, rather than change different models, I'm just going to change the color of the skin of the gun very simply. And I'm going to do that by going to the variables here and choosing gun color. And that will be set to a color variable here. Do linear color and click instance editable. And we're going to set off the starting color here to be black. Now on the mesh itself, we're going to change the guns mesh material here to an instance one. So I've already gone in and made this. So in the weapon here, I made an instance of the FP gun material. We just right click, create material instance, and that allows us then to make it dynamic and change it. So if I go to my construction script here, I'm going to drag my gun color out, choose get, drag out my mesh, and then from there we're going to set vector parameter value on materials, and the parameter value is going to be our gun color. Drag that in, it will convert it over for you, and the parameter name is body color. Compile and close that. So basically what that means is I can go in and drag this out here, and I click on this here, and I can change the color to whatever I like, and it will update it inside the world to whatever color I want as well. So there are my different guns. So let's make those different guns that we're going to have equipped to our player character. I'm going to right click on here and create a child blueprint class. I'm going to call this one gun_1, and I'm going to give this a color of red. And close that. Make another child. And this one gun_2. Give this a different color again. Let's change it to blue. Like that. We'll do one more. Maybe your character has 3 guns equipped, maybe in Destiny or something. And we'll make this one green. There we go. Okay, so there's our guns. Next, we need to add that gun to our character. So I'm going to go into my first-person shooter character and go to the viewport. So first things first, I need to replace the FP gun that we have attached to our character here. So I'm going to delete that and delete the sphere attached to that as well. And go to my construction script, delete this. Don't want that. And go into our event graph and delete our spawn projectile stuff too. Close that, and I think that is it. Yep. So we go to the viewport now, and we're going to add our guns to this. Also, whilst we're here, let's clean up the VR. We don't want that in here. Let's make it cleaner for you guys to see what is going on. So I'm just going to delete all this VR stuff. We don't want that. And that looks correct. Okay, so in the viewport, we need to change it so we have child actor classes. So we go child actor, and we'll call this one primary gun. And here we can choose which gun class we want to use here. So I'm going to go gun_1. And there you see it there. Now with this, we want to make sure it's attached to our socket correctly. So if I click on the magnifying glass here, I can attach it to the grip point. And you can see it reacting to the grip point like so. I can see here my rotation of my gun is off. So I can either rotate the socket or go back into my actor and change the gun. So I'm going to do that, I think. Just go into gun base, click on the mesh, and reset the rotation base the correct way. There we go, that'll do. So there's our primary gun lined up in our hands. Now we're going to do our other guns as well, all on the same character. So we're going to go in here, and we're going to duplicate that, and that'll be secondary gun. And we'll make that equal to gun 2. And we'll make a third one called sidearm. And you can do this with as many guns as you like. So you attach all the guns you want, or all the weapons you have to the character. So if you're doing something like Half-Life, where you have loads of weapons and things like that, attach them all to the character like this. Even if they haven't unlocked them yet, you attach them all to the character in this same way. And what we'll do essentially is hide all of them but one, based on which one you've got currently equipped. And then when you switch gun, you switch a different item in your inventory. So there are our guns all there, and we're going to go into our variables here, and in our new variable we're going to do call it a currently equipped, and this is going to track which one we've got currently equipped on our character, and that's going to be an integer. So we're going to go in here and change it to integer. Compile. Next we want to go into our event graph. So on the event graph on begin play, we need to take all of our guns and add them to an array, which is going to work as our sort of inventory. So I'm going to drag my primary gun here, secondary gun there, sidearm gun there, and we'll drag out from the first one and do make array, and then you want to hook up all the other two to this as well by adding pins and hooking them into it there. So if you've got, say, 10 weapons, you make 10 arrays. Okay, so it all goes into the one array. And this is good because you can store how much ammo each gun has on each gun. They are independent from each other, which is really, really nice. So that array there, we want to store as a variable. So drag this out, permit to variable, and we'll call this one gun inventory, I guess. And put that into begin play. Okay. So once we've done that, we want to set the first one as our currently equipped. So we're going to go from here and do get, copy, and we do currently equipped into the get. Remember, currently equipped is set to 0 by default. So we'll get that first one, and then from there we want to make it visible. So set visible, and we'll make it true. And from there we want to attach it to our mesh 2p via the socket. So we'll take this out here and do socket, and you want to sorry, not socket, attach to component, attach component to component, and the parent component is going to be our mesh 2p, which is the arms. The socket name is going to be the name of the socket, which is grip point. Grip point. And change the location rule, rotation rule, and scale rule to snap to target. Like so. Compile and then save. Okay, and that is the starting point. So it's setting the first gun up and adding them to our thing here. Now, as I said, we are making our gun here visible, which means we want to make the other ones not visible. So set the default visibility for each one to invisible. Click on there. Turn off visibility, each one. So by a start, it looks like he has no gun on him. But when you push play, the first gun will appear and show the arms. Like that. Okay. So now comes the switching part. So the switching part, if we go into our character, we're going to handle it with a scroll wheel. And what the scroll wheel is going to do is just change the current equipped value here and then go through the motions like I've done here to set the current weapon. So let's do a mouse wheel axis. And we'll take this axis value and then make that change the currently equipped here. So with the currently equipped, we want to make it loop round as well, so it doesn't keep going up forever and ever, or go down further and further. So it's going to loop around the same set of numbers, basically. So what you do is you get the currently equipped, and then you're going to add axis value to it. So you're going to do add, sorry, if we do it with here, add float. We'll do add int to be fine, and you drag it in like that. It'll truncate it to a float, to an int, sorry. Let's switch those around, makes it a bit more sense. But I'll add those two together and we get a new value. Now you want to see if this value is actually within range of our gun inventory. So take a gun inventory out here, choose get, and we're going to see if that is a valid index. It's valid index, plug that in, and if that's not a valid index, that's when we want to change where it goes. So for that, we need to change our whether it's going to be 0 or set to the max. Now that's worked out based on what this axis value is actually doing. So if currently equipped here is below the length, it's below 0, we want to set that to the maximum. So we'll go to here, drag this out, and do below, so less than 0. Put that into a branch to false. Now if that's less than 0, that means we want to make that value currently equipped equal to the last index. So currently equipped here, set, and to true, and that is set to the gun inventory last index. If it is false, that means it's going to be greater than the maximum value. So it's going to be out of range and not less than 0, which must mean it's on the other side. That means we're going to make our currently equipped equal to 0. Go. The next, we want to handle the actual equipment of our gun. So on the true here, when we do the wheel axis, we're going to do our thing here and set the current equipped here to our resulting figure. So to recap, when we scroll the wheel, it's going to send the value, be -or -1 based on the direction of the scroll, and it will add it to the currently equipped value. So if it's 0, it might become 1 or -1. It will check whether it is a valid index, so if it is in the range of the array. If it's not, and it's outside that range, check to see if it's below 0. If it's below 0, we're going to set the new currently equipped value to be the last index. So it's looped back round to the end of the array. If it's not below 0, and it's still out of range, it means it's gone out of the other side, which means we want to wrap it back down to 0. And then if it is true, means it is a valid index, all you're doing is simply setting it to whatever value you added it up to here. Pretty standard stuff. So next we need to make it so it equips the item. Now we've already done that up here in begin play. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the most of this. We'll take the set visibility and the attach going on here, and we'll take the get as well, and we're going to right click, collapse the function, and we'll call that function equip gun. Okay, and we're going to equip gun, and there it is. Now this thing doesn't necessarily need to have a parameter, so we can disconnect that and just use the gun inventory from here, but we'll leave it like that. It's not a problem. That'd be just fine. So the equip gun is going to do two things. It's going to equip the new one and then hide the other one. So before we go into here, which is equipping of the new one, we're going to take this array, do a for each loop, And that will go into, first of all, the function first. And for the loop body, we're going to take the array element out here and do set visibility and set them all to be invisible. Then on completed, you're going to drag down to here to set visibility and turning on the one that is currently equipped and attaching it to the correct point. Let's hook up the array there. And that should do it. Compile, go back to event graph. So we're going to use that equipped gun code on our mouse wheel, and we'll do it to the end of each one of these 3 paths. So drag our equipped gun variable out and plug in gun inventory to it. Let's copy and paste that around like so. Let's hit compile, and let's now go into the game. So if I scroll the wheel, the gun will change. If I scroll it the other way, it goes the other way. So let's say you want it to shoot. So on our gun base, I'm not going to go through the whole motion of adding the shooting functions because I've gone through that in other videos. So what we're going to do here is we'll make a function on here called a custom function, custom event called shoot. And we'll just do a simple print string. But this is where you shoot projectile or line trace, whatever you're doing, you do that here. We call it shoot there. Compile and close that. So then on our character, to actually do the shooting of the currently equipped gun, you do the input. So we do fire is on this template. You're going to get your gun inventory. You're going to, from there, get a copy and get the currently equipped. Then from there, you're going to drag that out, get child actor, and then from there, cast to gun base. As long as it's cast to the gun base, this will work because all 3 of those guns inherit from that base. So from there, I call shoot, like so. And there you go. So here we're getting the array of child actors and getting the currently equipped one. And then from there we get the actual actor that is part of that child array, child actor, sorry. Cast to the gun base and then call in the shoot function on that gun. So all these guns will now shoot. And you'll see that by hitting shoot button, it'll shoot from there. Change gun, and you'll see it go there. And to showcase that it is using the different guns for each one of those, I'm going to gun base here. I'm going to drag gun color into the text color here. Okay, so now when I push play, we'll shoot in that red color, blue, green, and so forth. And these guns are always there, not being destroyed, not being hidden. They are, not being destroyed or being spawned, they're just being hidden. Therefore, whatever stats they have currently on them, such as their ammo, will remain there. It's not going to be changed anywhere, don't have to save it anywhere, don't have to store it as an array anywhere. It's always going to be there. It's just hidden and disabled, basically, from the player's interaction. And as I say, you can do this for as many guns as you like on the actual character. But obviously don't do too many for game design purposes. That'd be a bit crazy. So try and limit yourself a little bit. But essentially that is how you do it. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. It gave you some inspiration of how to approach this problem. And as I said at the start, if there's something that you feel like isn't going to work with this system, please let me know in the comments below and I'll show you other ways you can accomplish this. But this way seems to be the most straightforward and most commonly adopted by many games out there. If you like what I do and want to see more content, head over to patreon.com/Ryan Laley, where you can show your support for me, all from just $1 a month, and in return you get access to all my videos before anyone else. A big shout out to all my patrons and YouTube members who voted for this video. If you want to vote for the next video, head over to Patreon right now and cast your vote on this month's current video. Thanks again for watching, don't forget to hit subscribe, and I'll see you all next time. Bye everyone.